executions, torture, sexual abuse and crimes against children, large-scale shelling and bombing of the settlements. Since the invasion of Ukraine, the Russian army has committed thousands of war crimes against Ukrainians. This conclusion was reached by the UN Commission of Inquiry on Ukraine. One of the main reasons for its establishment was the tragedy in Bucha near Kyiv. UN experts began their work on Ukrainian territory in mid-June, starting their research with 4 regions of Ukraine: Kyiv, Sumy, Kharkiv and Chernihiv.
We were struck by the large number of executions in the areas we visited. The Commission is currently investigating such deaths in 16 cities and towns. We have received credible allegations regarding many more cases of executions, which we are documenting further. Common elements of such crimes include the prior detention of the victims, as well as visible signs of execution on their bodies, such as hands tied behind the back, gunshot wounds to the head, and throat cut.
UN investigators have identified victims of sexual violence ranging in age from 4 to 82. According to them, the children were raped, tortured, and illegally imprisoned. On September 23rd, in Izum, Kharkiv region, the exhumation was completed at the mass gravesite. 447 bodies were raised from the ground, including 5 children and 22 servicemen of the armed forces of Ukraine. The evidence of atrocities committed by Russia grows more horrifying with every day. More recently, when mass graves were discovered in Izum, where the bodies show signs of torture, we urge the commissioners to continue to investigate the growing evidence of Russia-led filtration operations, forced deportations and disappearances. In order to punish the Russian leadership for the war crimes, Ukraine initiated the creation of a special international tribunal, the draft of which has already been presented to the ambassadors of 30 countries. According to the organizers, we are talking specifically about the president of Russia and other top officials of the Russian Federation who unleashed military aggression against Ukraine.
From the first day of the invasion, on February the 24th, we have been looking for an answer to the question of how to bring to justice those who started the aggression against Ukraine. We weighted all existing mechanisms, including UN resolutions, consulted with the most famous international lawyers from around the world, and came to the conclusion that in order to hold accountable for the crime of aggression against Ukraine, a special international tribunal should be created, the mandate of which will be limited solely to investigating the crime of aggression against Ukraine. Andriy Smirnov, deputy head of the Office of the President of Ukraine, on the website of the President of Ukraine.
The very fact that the Special International Tribunal is preparing indictments and issuing arrest warrants will be an important step towards the recognition of global justice. After all, no international court has jurisdiction yet to investigate and bring to justice the top political and military leadership of Russia.
Russia's war has brought many countries to the brink of starvation, exacerbated extreme poverty, created a never-before-seen threat of nuclear holocaust, and undermined the livelihoods and prospects of millions of people around the world. The consequences for human rights stem from an act of an aggression by Russia, a member of the UN Security Council, which, if left unanswered, will drag us into a dark world of impunity and permissiveness.
The creation of the International Special Tribunal will also bring the end of the war closer, according to the Office to the President of Ukraine. The tribunal will make it clear even to skeptics that it is no longer possible to shake hands with Putin and other Russian leaders. This will finally send them into international isolation and possibly will change the attitude toward the war against Ukraine in Russia itself.
All Russian war criminals, including the top leadership, must be held accountable. We will not stop until all these people will be in the dock of an international tribunal. We raised the issue of creating such a tribunal in our conversations with the Prime Ministers of Canada, New Zealand and Japan, and discussed it with the President of Latvia. The whole world should know about Russian crimes.
Since the beginning of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, law enforcement officers have registered more than 34,000 criminal cases on the fact of war crimes. Experts explain that if the Kremlin is not punished now with the help of an international tribunal, then in the future any dictator will be able to wage war against other countries and commit atrocities there unpunished. And on this path, Ukraine counts on broad international support. After all, unpunished crimes are very likely to be repeated. Reported by Diana Kolesnik, Victoria Sinko, UATV News.